Okay, while I'm waiting for some of my new pieces to dry, what I'm going to do is show you what sometimes happens when you've had some of your glass sculptures outside for a while and things happen. You get branches that fall out of a tree and coincidentally just happen to hit your glass. In my case, we've got deer that run through the backyard, so every once in a while they'll get frisky and knock some of them over. I've banged into a couple accidentally while doing some yard work and knocked them over. And we've had some damage again from branches that knocked some of them, my hanging pieces, down. So you've always got repairs. It could be you get water intrusion and you get some frost heave and one of them breaks. So here are some examples of some repairs I've got to make. In this case, I find that crackle glass looks really cool in some of these pieces, but it doesn't always hold up real well. It's already fractured and ready to break if it gets banged or we get some frost damage or something, or ice damage. So that one's going to have to be taken off and replaced somehow. This is one of my hanging ones that it's upside down right now, but it got knocked down. I had a rack of them and that a branch hit and banged up a few. So we'll see what we can salvage from that. Of course, you don't have to. You could just toss them and start over, but I like to try and repair best I can. I think this is one we're going to work with right now. This is an example of a finished one that I haven't really put out yet. It's been hanging here in the garage. But in that case, I don't know if I'm going to get it finished today, but what I use to hang these are the only kind of hooks that I can find. They're usually for hanging lamps from the ceiling or planters and that sort of thing. But for the most part, if it's a relatively lightweight piece, if they're sealed on really good, they're usually enough to hold with a piece of either a hook or some chain to a hook. But that's an idea I came up with when thinking about, gosh, everything we have in the way of these totems is always ground up. What if we could do some that could hang? And as you can see, some of the best pieces are martini glasses, or in this case, different kinds of water glasses. That as a good start. Some nice, if you can find crystal. I know it seems crazy to use lead crystal, but if you find oddball sets in a thrift store, or you happen to have some that you're never going to use again, they hold up really well, and they make for some nice profiles. Anyway, let's see what we can do with this. Now, I'm not going to show you the whole procedure, but what happened here was, obviously it fell down, the stem snapped off, and I'm going to have to replace it with something and another hook to hang. So my thinking is, I have these water glasses that are kind of in the same color scheme. So I think if I take this ice cream glass off and replace it with this, I think we'll be back in business. So I'll just show you how we get started, but it can be sort of a long process, so I won't show you everything. You want to basically unseal your silicone layer. So I use a razor blade or an X-Acto knife, or some loose ones here, to kind of cut through that silicone layer. Again, turntable comes in handy if you're spinning around, but you've got to, depending on how sharp your razor is and how much silicone you put in there, you're going to have to kind of go around a few times and go over it enough to where you can break your seal. And you know, it's a razor blade, so take care that you're not cutting yourself. And always be careful with your glass, that you know where any broken edges are and you're not cutting yourself on those. Okay, we have removed, it was a little tricky because there was a good seal on the silicone here. But I removed the broken piece, and the next step you want to do is to try and get as much of the old silicone off as possible. And again, I find the best thing to use is a razor blade. Again, be careful, and you don't want to be getting anything flicked into your eyes. You don't want to be getting cut. It is glass. Okay, so I was thinking, trouble is, again, as I said, a lot of this is all in proportion. I don't want to be I don't want to overwhelm the piece. Ideally, what we should have here, the next piece should be a slim, to me, a slim tapered wine glass, but I don't happen to have one of those at the moment. So, well, we're not done, but I went and looked at my pieces. I've got some other choices here. I have a glass piece that could work that way. This is, the way the process goes. You trial and error, you try to figure out what looks best. Actually, I think this one looks best to me, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. As I said, I just washed these earlier, so I'm going to do that for you. One of the things, as I mentioned, I go to thrift shops, Goodwill a lot, and when I first started this a couple years ago, it was not at all difficult to find some interesting pieces, and I think at times they had some surplus that was given to them from some of the decorating stores. So you had some interesting vases and bowls. I'm not seeing that as much now, so I don't know whether they're not getting those surplus donations or whether somebody's getting there really ahead of the game, or earlier than me, or I've sealed it in there best I can. Okay, I don't know whether you were able to see that or not, but so I've got this sealed up, centered the best I can. It seems to be good to go. Center it up. And I think we're good. Well, we've got a few repairs that need to be made. This one, for instance, actually I knocked that one over and the top separated, so we're going to have to clean off, probably take that plate out of it, off of it, and get a replacement, or maybe not even use that for the topper. Clean off this glass. This piece had its topper knocked over. I think the unit had been knocked over by the deer up back, so we will either clean that up and reattach that or try something else. So this base had our crackle glass that we previously repaired as a middle piece. We reused the top on that for something else, so this gives us an opportunity to put something else there. This piece got knocked off of, I think, a table, or maybe it was on the ground somewhere, and it lost its upper piece. We'll have to be taking this purple off and replacing the topper. This is a topper that came off of a larger piece that we'll have to take that off and decide what we're going to do with that. So there are always a few repairs that need to be made along the way, and I'll show you some of these finished pieces when we're done. All right, we're back with what I was able to reconfigure on a couple of these pieces. Let me quickly go through a few of these. This piece, I went and looked through some of my glass collection and found a vase that I thought would work with it. Normally I wouldn't have put blue with green, but I've been trying to figure out what to do with this for a while. So I think that sets up fairly nice. That one's ready to go. With I need to add some things to the top of it. Don't seem to have the right piece just yet, but that's on its way to change. I reconfigured this one. Really, it was just a matter of putting another piece on the top, similar to one that I've had before, a rose-colored vase, and I put a glass marble on the top. Sometimes those are helpful. I don't know, I really didn't have much else to top it with. This one, I'm still not sure where to go on top of that. This water goblet had been part of that construction. There had been a plate in between. But I really like this all by itself. So I used this to make a tabletop piece. Had to really work to get some of the silicone out of this, but I was able to add a bell and another candle holder to the top of that, and I think I'm kind of proud of that one. I like the look of that, and that's just sort of an inside tabletop piece, a little shorter than usual. So that one's done. This one I've got to come up with a topper. This one's done for now. This one I've got to come up with a topper. I've cleaned up this bottle, which looks a lot like sort of a perfume jar. I don't really think that's going to work with anything I have right now. That red isn't the right color. This piece I haven't quite figured out yet. I like the base. I like this water goblet. This has been clouded up, and it looks like it might have a crack running through it. I think I'm going to take that off. I'm not entirely happy with the saucer here either, so the top of all this may come off and I may end up with a small tabletop with this. I don't think this red will work with that. So we're going to have to play around with that and see. But I went out to the thrift shop this morning and paid a little more than usual, but I did pick up a couple of pieces I'm excited about. This one is similar to one I've had before. I'll clean that glass up and we'll see what we can do. Since that's blue, that's good. I have some blue plates. I'll probably put either a blue plate to give it a little larger base, or some sort of a bowl upside down underneath that, and build up from there. But again, it depends what I have for toppers. But that I'm excited about. And I'm real excited about my next fountain, which I think I can use this piece. I think this was from a water or lemonade dispenser, because it's got a hole drilled here where you would have had a spout. But that works very well for me because I can put my fairy lights inside it. I'm probably going to get some more of those marbles, the flat glass wafers like. I'll go ahead and purchase those in a certain color, put those underneath. This is heavy enough as a base and broad enough as a base to hold the fountain, but I still want to put a little weight in there. So we'll put some weight and color in there, and then this can work very well for a plate, and then the bowl on top of it for the fountain. And I'll finish this up and give it to another good friend of mine. But this is nice. I'll have to get some sort of a rubber stopper or a cork to put in, a wine cork to put in here to help seal that once I run the fairy light cord in there. But that's got a lot of good potential. We've got to clean that up and work on that. I might do a separate video on that fountain step by step too. And I guess that's it for now. Thanks for sticking around and looking at this video. I hope it gives you some ideas about what to do. I can, at some time, I'm probably going to do another video to just tell you some of the do's and don'ts that I've learned as we've gone along. But I hope this gives you some inspiration. Good luck.